Hi everyone, this is Tormod. I would like to talk about my schizophrenia. I was first diagnosed, I believe it was in 2002. I was then living in Stavanger, city of Stavanger, which is the oil capital sort of Norway. It is known for the oil production just outside the North Sea, and I lived there those days, and I had my home there, and I was going through re-educating myself from my old occupation of being a construction worker. I was working with constructions, and then I had I was working with a little bit concrete and greasy oils and yeah, in this fabric, where I worked as a concrete worker, and I was experiencing rash on my body and on my arms. I was experiencing rash, and it went to the extreme that I had to change my work. I had to re-educate myself to find another type of work, a new education sort of. So I moved to the city of Stavanger. I moved in with some people that I just met in Stavanger. That I moved in with them, and I was going to gymnasium to taking up some old. I was re-educating myself as of gymnasium studies. This was back in 1999 and 2000. Now, as I was living in Stavanger, I started to go a lot to pubs and cafes and drink quite a lot. I also very soon started to experiment with hashish and weed, in particular those two. And I was also, during my time of drugging and drug relations, was in contact with amphetamine and cocaine, but it was hashish and weed that have been my challenges, that have been really addictive and really demanding and craving to me. So I lived in Stavanger. The partying went on and the drugging went on. I ruined relationships with girls and with other guys and everything. My main focus in life was to get another fix, to get another joint, to get another joint, to get another fix, to get another drunk experience, and eventually I almost collapsed. I was taken to the hospital, and I was diagnosed in 2002 with schizophrenia and delirium. Now, delirium means to be alcohol poisoned. And schizophrenia is an ongoing psychosis, often related to hearing voices or having a very noisy mind. Now, I would spend 3 months of this period of my life. I would spend 3 months in the hospital walls in Stavanger. 3 months I spent there, and I didn't have much of when I got out after 3 months, and I talked to my old friends at the cafe or at the pubs about being involved in hospital and with psychiatry, I would just simply laugh at it. I would think, ha ha ha, that was just like, that was crazy, how funny isn't that, ha ha ha, just laughed it away and didn't take it serious at all. But I had this thought in the back of my head, going repeatedly, that I have to learn to what it is to carry this diagnosis. I have to learn what does it mean to be mentally ill, to go to that extreme of being committed to a hospital. What does it mean to be diagnosed with schizophrenia? So I did some investigation back then, but not really much compared to what I've done later in life. And I did not manage to quit the drugs at this point in my life. I was still buying drugs and smoking weed and smoking hashish and drinking very, very much alcohol. During the years, I was also committed to hospital several more times. I believe I had almost 100 commitments to hospitals in Norway during all these years, since 2002. In various regions of Norway, as I moved around, as I was restless, as I could not find enough times that hashish, that weed, alcohol, to addict myself and to satisfy that energy need within myself. And I would move around the country, travel around the country of Norway and also Northern Europe, and search for joints, very literally, and alcohol, and yeah. So I realized that after some of the work that I've done now, the last 2.5 years, I quit my drugs and alcohol in May 2012, 2.5 years ago. And I've been working steady and steadfast with Tools of Destiny on a process to getting back to myself, with an ongoing process every day to peel the onion of myself, to get to the layers, to realize it and set free the energy through self-forgiveness and self-corrections and self-corrective application and self-application, and to become responsible with myself and realize what life I have lived, and to discover myself again. And I realized that if I have a noisy mind, if there's something within my mind that is noisy, except apart from my awareness of my breath, if there's something within myself, within my mind, within my head that is noisy, that is a voice or a backshot or anything, then it can be traced back to myself, just like with breath, typically. So, there's a catch for you. There's something to learn for you if you have not discovered yet what breath is like. If you are able to have a steadfast and steady breathing, a 4-point breath, for instance, and you are able to do that, you can meditate as you go around 24/7 while you're at work, while you're swimming, while you're eating, whatever you do, shitting. And you can meditate as you do exactly those things in your life. Now, when you're actually doing that, according to any specific recipe of being a meditator or having meditation. Now, I realized that through realizing my self-responsibility, I realized that any thought, any friction, any conflict, any reaction within my head, within my mind that is causing me to have words popping up inside of my head that I can hear that I can recognize as a memory, or as a phrase, or as a backshot, as a personality, as a positivity feeling, as emotional bad energy, negative, or as this experience, as a selfish experience, or relation, or thought at all, anything, I trace it back to myself, because it is me, myself, that experiences this as I did. It is not somebody in Colombia, or somebody in China, or somebody in Argentina. I can relate to. I can picture to myself that there are people in Argentina, there are people in China that I have in their daily life, that are working with the chores that I have in their systematic, that are having their lives, those places. And I can start to project or create backshots in my head about what they're doing, and create these words and this sound about what they're doing. That doesn't mean I'm telepathing with them at all. So any thought, any noise that goes on within my head or within my mind is pointing back at myself. It is me who is the starting point. Now, that could be from a harsh word, or from a hard experience when I was a child, when I was a kid, something that made an imprint on me through words, or through experience, through sound, through teachers, or through school, through anything that goes on, that has been going on within my life. And I'm able to trace this all back to myself through self-responsibility. And in that way I can achieve a quiet mind and peace of mind, just like Buddhism or any religion Buddhism would say that to achieve a quiet mind is like philosophically nice to achieve. So everybody wants a quiet mind. Nobody likes to have noise in their head or voice in their head. Nobody likes that at all. Everybody wants a quiet, peaceful mind. So, yeah. And my drug addiction lasted till 2012. For more than 10 years I was addicted to alcohol, hashish and weed. And I spent thousands and thousands of kroners on these drugs, and I ruined a lot of work, a lot of relationships to girls, to guys. Luckily my parents stood by me in thick and thin. They were helpful and loving and caring to me. Exclusively all the time. And so after I've done a ride around to another city and ended up with the police, or done something that would criminalize me through, and my parents would again come in here, you can stay with us and we will still love you. And I'm very appreciative to my parents because of what they always stood by me in thick and thin. So I realized that addictions are really scary stuff, and I realized that I'm happy, and I'm sad, I realized that I realized that I am sad, that it is a relief to be without it, to put it that way. It is making me realize myself. The ability to realize myself to my fullest potential shows up as I'm able to not have this thought in my head, I have to have a fix, I have to have a beer, I have to have a joint all the time, or any time, to just be able to relax or enjoy myself with a cup of tea without having those thoughts that I have to have a fucking joint, I have to have a fucking beer or whatever in front of me all the fucking time. So that is experience. So that is part of my schizophrenia. I've been living with massive backshots and thoughts in my head and voice in my head for many years. And it is important to realize that all these thoughts, all these words, all this that goes on within my head can be traced back to myself from the origin of the words or the thoughts. If you investigate destiny.org and Destiny process, you will discover this. You will realize who you really are underneath all the layers of energy and personalities and ego and feelings and projections and thought patterns and all the stuff that sort of just like matrix stuff, system stuff that have been programmed into us from before we were born even. Like the subconscious have been downloaded from our ancestors, from the ancient times, from parents, from our grandparents, etc. Before them, the subconscious, living the DNA, living the genetically charged lives of our ancestors, or through unconscious, through the collective unconscious, where we all are responsible for whatever goes on in this world in any given moment, because we are interwoven through the unconscious mind. And because we are interwoven through the unconscious mind, it is also my responsibility that somebody gets raped, that somebody gets shot and murdered, that somebody gets beaten, that somebody gets yelled at, somebody gets bullied, etc. Anything that goes on amongst humans on this earth is part of my responsibility, because I live here fuckings too. So that is part of what I realized through my history, and I wouldn't say that I doubt that a doctor could ever diagnose me with schizophrenia today, but I've been living the life as schizophrenic, with schizophrenia, with psychosis, and with voices in my head for a long period of time. They are what shall I say, fading out now through my work with self-forgiveness and self-corrections and self-application. They are fading out as I take charge, as I take responsibility for myself, as I realize myself and take responsibility for myself and forgive myself for all the transgression, all the friction, all the energies that are related to personalities, to anything that goes on within my head, within my mind, and within my world, and through the world of everyone, and through the mind of everyone, because it is something that is collectively and equally shared. That is participating with mind, for instance, and the relation and the responsibility of that. So that is like politics, the way politics should be. We should be talking politics on the streets every day. I mean, talk like, what do you think about God? What do you think about God? Stop someone on the streets or the gas station, on the supermarket, and ask them, what is your opinion of money? Or what do you think of this God? Ask them what their opinion is on these type of questions that are the dominating questions, dominating words in society where we live. These words that grip us and carry us and demand from us that we surrender our experience, surrender our money, surrender our whatever to these demigods of words, like money or God or sex or etc. Relationships. So ask those questions, start asking those questions. What do you think about God? What do you think about money? What do you think about equality? What do you think about, these questions are dominating us so much. So I would really recommend that we take democracy home. That we start talking more about politics amongst ourselves, and to talk about ourselves where we live. That is taking responsibility, talking to another, and opening up, and talking and sharing, and taking responsibility for another. It is all ourself, mostly. We are the rulers of this planet. We are the supreme beings of this planet. We have driven this planet to so far, to the brink of extinction for everybody. We have to get back to the onion and peel the layers and forgive, and to realize and to take responsibility for collectively everything. Thank you very much for listening. Have a nice day.